Hello students, again it's HB Dlamini, Public Law N6. We're doing Module 11 now, Intergovernmental Relations, using the same book, Public Law Prescribed Book, as well as the Constitution of South Africa. So in my introduction, the internal government relations takes place between government organs. So one organ will have higher authority than the other. So when the higher organ gives an instruction to the lower organ, an administrative legal relationship develops in that way. So there are two types of legal relationships. It's the internal control relationship and the independent control relationship. The internal control relationship, it develops when two government organizations in the same power base oppose each other. For example, the Director General and the Minister of the same department when they come into conflict. Let me give you an example. Department of Higher Education. When the Minister, Dr. Nzimande, clashes with the DDG, the Director General, Mr. Konde, it becomes a conflict because they are on the same power base, but the Minister is higher than the DG. So the internal control relationship also determines whether higher organization, that is the Minister, gave orders to lower organization, that is the DG. So it also determines whether higher organization have authority to change actions of lower organ. If a licensing board, for example, grants a trading license, then the city council cannot take the license back. For example, if they suspect that the license was granted under mysterious conditions. Why? Because the board is a valid structure, authentic enough to take decisions on its own. So the city council cannot do anything by virtue of their powers. So as far as this internal control, I also would like to add something to this, because we also talk about the government here. So with regard to governmental relations and cooperative government, the Constitution 108 of 1996 states in Chapter 3, Articles 3 and 4. Let me just quote it from the Constitution for you. Article 3, subsection 3 reads as follows. An organ of state involved in an intergovernmental dispute must make every reasonable effort to settle the dispute by means of mechanisms and procedures provided for that purpose, and must exhaust all other remedies before it approaches a court to resolve the dispute. Then subsection 4 comes in. If a court is not satisfied that the requirements of subsection 3, the one I've just read, have been met, it may refer a dispute back to the organs of state, to the organs involved, right? So this is in terms of section 41 of the Constitution of South Africa. Then let's come to the independent control relationship. One organization has authority to approve the actions of the other authority. The two organs function independently. For example, the Premier and the City Council. The Premier cannot order the City Council to act or not to act, but He can approve or not approve. He can approve or disapprove the actions of the city council, right? You must also refer to the table on page 81, the table on control relationships, right? Then let's move over to delegation, or it's delegation of administrative authority or delegation of administrative powers. What is delegation? In short, a person or body holds the power and authorizes another person or body to perform a function on their behalf. So the delegator stays responsible for the delegate. The power is delegated from higher to lower body. And there are three types of delegation. It's mandate, deconcentration, and decentralization. Mandate. Let's start with the mandate. What is it when a person says, no, I'm carrying a mandate of a certain organization. I'm carrying a mandate. What does that mean? What does that mean? So for today, you'll understand what is meant by a mandate. This is the simplest form of delegation, where the higher organization decides and instructs lower organizations. Higher organization remains responsible as instruction was carried out in its name. For example, here, the minister instructs the DG to build houses in the Department of Settlement, or Human Settlement, right? The minister instructs the DG to build houses. The DG must carry out the instructions. But if the houses are not built, the minister must explain in Parliament, not the DG. Okay? Then let's move to deconcentration. Deconcentration, it means certain powers and functions are transferred from higher to lower organ. Lower organization, again, delegate functions to people below, to other people below. It means they delegate further, right? The delegate does everything in the name of the delegate, right? The delegate does everything in the name of the delegate. For example, the DG acts in the name of the minister, right? It means higher organization can act anytime, withdraw delegation, and do the task themselves. In other words, if the DG was acting as a minister someday, the minister would say, no, I don't want to put you there anymore to act in my position. Anytime the minister can do that. The higher organization must exercise control over the lower organization. For example, by making reports. For example, whenever it's month end, you usually hear people who are working for the department, for the government departments, they'll say, no, I'm busy with the returns, right? So it means they are making reports back to the to the head office, right? Where the department is controlled. Then let's move to decentralization. Under decentralization, powers and functions are transferred to an autonomous organization. The organization performs the functions in its own name. For example, Majuba College. The higher organization has no right to interfere after delegation. For example, the minister appoints a board of experts to grant licenses. Minister cannot issue licenses himself. The higher organization, that is the minister, is still in control by appointment of the members of the board. In other words, the minister cannot issue the license himself. Why? Because he delegated everything to the board, which board was appointed by himself or herself. So now he doesn't have powers to issue the licenses. It's only the board, because it's an authentic structure appointed by the minister. Okay? Our organization must have control measures in place. For example, I spoke of the reports under deconcentration, that when it's month end, you must send the reports back to the controlling department, to the head office, right? So in conclusion, please don't confuse decentralization and deconcentration, because most students usually fall victims of this, especially during exams. Okay, so now let me say bye-bye for now. We'll meet again in module 12. So module 12 will follow in due course. Stay safe.